Hey there, Deborah Moorhead here, and welcome to your Juicy Relationship Tips. Today, the question I'm answering is, so I'm dating men or I'm getting to know men online, and it's seeming like all they're wanting is online sex, and they are not really wanting a real relationship. And how do I recognize them, and then how do I deal with them? I am so excited to be able to talk about this because there are actually 4 things that you can do to be able to help you in this, the messiness or the confusing part of online dating, online getting to know each other, and then that online sex and how does all that fit in there. The first area is you have got to know yourself. So take time, please, to sit down and write down, what are my values? What are my beliefs? What's really important? What type of lifestyle am I wanting? And what are my wants and what are my interests? And then the most important is, what are my must-haves? What are my non-negotiables? There's a reason why this first step is so important, is because that information is going to lead you into how you are going to select and how you are going to determine who you're going to be spending time with in any of the online stuff and whether you're going to take it further or not. I'd say this to you if you were doing it online. I'd say this to you if you were doing it in person. You got to start with that as the basis. So the first area is make sure you have these elements of understanding of yourself, because when you know that, you have that, that will guide you in your next step. So the second step is, even online, you want to have a system to be able to select. So what is that system? One of the main ways is that you take bits and pieces. Don't go into long profile information about yourself, but take bits and pieces of these parts about what you know about yourself. Tie them in with a little sentence somewhere in there about your values. Like if you have a particular spirituality, a spiritual way of believing, and that's important to you, make sure that that gets in there. Or, a particular lifestyle or an interest that's really important to you, and definitely maybe a little bit of the must-have, like if you want to have children or you don't want to have children. And I'm not saying that's a big one, so you may not totally put that in your profile. We'll talk about how that would weave into the conversations in the moment as you move forward. But tease those in a little bit, because what you want is men who will pick up on those little seeds that you've put in, and that's some of what they will be replying to you about. And that then leads to the third piece, which is now where you're going to be starting to really do the selecting and the evaluating, is as they are responding to you, are they able to carry on a conversation about real topics? That's what you're looking for. If you don't want, now if you want to have online sex and that's what you're looking for, then fine, don't worry about any of this stuff. But if you are looking for that real relationship, you want to take some of these steps to get the right kind of man that's going to be responding to you, that you're going to take the next step, right? So this is what I want you to do. He writes back and he brings up something that maybe was in there or whatever else, and maybe he doesn't. You weave in a question. These are all not heavy duty, like you want to get married, you want to have kids. These are light things. But what you want to do is, can he have a conversation with me, a back and forth conversation about various topics? You want to make sure that that can happen, because then you're going to be finding a man. Now you don't have the whole picture yet, but a man that has some sustenance, something about him, right? That's what you're looking for. Here's the trick. So this is the third area, right? You're having a real conversation. If he weaves in either sexual innuendos or straight sex talk or requests or something like that, that right there is telling you a whole lot of information. Now, if you kind of have liked him up to this point, then go and keep a conversation going and see if he's able to keep another conversation. But if he keeps coming back to sex and he keeps pushing that, then I am going to tell you he's pretty much shown his colors. And even if you really kind of like this about him or the profile or whatever else, he has shown his colors. And if you're saying you don't want sex to be the main focus of the relationship, then the fourth step is that means it's time to pretty much stop it and shut it down, because he's shown the colors at this point, and it's time for you to say, no longer interested in him, I'm going to go ahead and move on. So that is the fourth step. I'm telling you, if you stay in the conversation and he keeps pushing at sex, or you go forward with sex, then that's how you've just defined the relationship. If you are looking for a real relationship when you are in the process of online dating, then the 4 steps that we just talked about, which you got to start by knowing yourself, you've got to have your system that you are looking for within your profile. And I forgot to say one thing. If you're not wanting men just coming after you for online sex, then you've got to make sure that you don't have words or pictures or things that are basically about sex, because that's what you're going to be attracting. So make sure you don't have that in your profile. And then the system has those little seeds that are going to bring up step number 3, which is where you're able to have real conversations back and forth. You're looking for a man who can have some good conversations about real topics, not just always going to sex. And then the 4th step is when it gets weird, they're going towards sex, you kind of made it clear you don't go that direction, but they keep going for it. It gets weird, it gets uncomfortable. They've shown their true colors. It's time to just shut it down and time to move on, because you're going to keep getting the same thing if you think that I'll stay in it a little longer, or I'll play with them a little bit and then maybe they'll have a real relationship with me. If they're not able to have even real conversations with you and they just are looking for sex, or you have online sex with them, that you've just lost the ability to have a real relationship, because they're most likely not capable of that. So I hope this is helpful, and I look forward, and share this if there's anybody else that you know that's having this question about online dating and men who just seem to want sex, or it gets weird, and that can be online or in person. So I hope this is helpful, and I look forward to you joining me next time.